Yeah.
All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Good morning to everyone who's in this part of the world, North America, and good evening to anybody who has been joining us from Europe, from Middle East, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. There are a lot of people who have been joining us in the past few webinar sessions. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. And I am so pleased to host none other than Hammad Siddiqui. Hammad, how are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you very much. I'm fine. I hope you are doing fine too on a Sunday morning.
I'm doing great, Hammad. I have to say, by the way, been following you, stalking you on LinkedIn. You've been doing some really cool, some really interesting work on LinkedIn in terms of the new videos that you have started posting.
Yes. So these are like short 90-second videos. The
Uh huh.
reality of life is that, our attention time span has reduced
Yes.
significantly, right? So I remember when I was growing up, we used to receive like morning newspaper,
Yep.
and we would read it, we would read it through these details, articles, and news, and our late father would discuss some of it, in the evening, be it on cricket or
Uh
some of
huh.
the other things that were going on. But now people have like very short attention time span with this information explosion that we have.
Yep.
uh, I won't even call it information overload now, because I think we have gone beyond the overload situation. It's just coming at us from every angle, every literally angle we receive this
Yes.
information. So it's very difficult for our brain to process that information.
Yeah, it
And
is.
the art of reaching out to people with a very short message is really gaining popularity. There are expertise, people have developed those expertise in kind of targeting people with short messages, the
Yeah.
Twitter of this world and all that, Snapchats and Instagram. So my idea was, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
can still do like an hour sessions with you. We can.
Yeah.
This is. I won't treat it the last session. I'm sure we could continue, maybe in a very different manner. But the session will
Exactly.
continue. But we go on for an hour and we discuss and all that, which is great. But how many people actually would have time to watch that 1 hour, at a
Exactly.
stretch.
So true.
So based on that, I've come up with this idea. It's good for branding also. 90 seconds with Hammad Siddiqui is a good branding, good thing to brand also. And like very crisp, brief information on not only, I'm going to continue because it's going to be a daily thing on my
Yeah,
LinkedIn and on my
that's great.
YouTube. Yeah, so it's going to be very brief, crisp information, not only on LinkedIn, but other topics also, because you and I receive a lot of questions from people. I think that
Yes,
is a
we
great
did.
opportunity for us to respond to them in a like more visual manner rather than just text manner. So yeah, thank you for mentioning, and I'm
Um,
sure people watching this broadcast will also get benefit out of it.
I'm sure they will. For those of you who have just joined us, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us on a Sunday morning. And my name is Omar. I'm your mindset and success coach. Hammad Siddiqui, who's a LinkedIn expert and LinkedIn coach. Hammad and I are here today to answer all your questions related to your career, related to your personal development, related to your entrepreneurial journey. So, Hammad, with that being said, let's get started. What do you say?
Absolutely.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm just. I do we have any uh, viewers so far,
Yes,
or
so far we have 8 people that I can see.
all right,
The link is showing me we have 8 very enthusiastic people. So,
great.
for those of you who have joined us, thank you so much. Why don't you guys start posting your questions in the comments section? And Hamad and I, while you guys are doing that, Hamad and I, in the past week, we have been kind of receiving a lot of your questions, and thank you so much for to each and every one of you who you know, um, you know, participated and engaged and shared your questions with us. So, Hamad, how about while our current viewers are joining and they are posting and thinking about their questions, why don't we start attacking some of the questions that we received from the people through LinkedIn, through my Instagram, through my Facebook, etc.?
Absolutely. I mean, we'll get into that, but I would, right at the beginning of the session, I will announce it later on also. Request all those who are watching, who have joined us, please uh, mention your location. Just tell us from where are you watching our live video. You know, it's really encouraging for us to see in a busy world, 8, 9 people joining in straight away. And
Yes.
I'm actually now receiving some messages on my LinkedIn also. Some people uh, are sending me some messages. So uh, maybe just if you, Omar, like to give a quick rundown of things that we did in the past 4 weeks, very
Yes.
quickly, as to
Absolutely.
what we
Yeah.
did and what are we aiming at. You know, why even are we doing it? You know,
Absolutely.
and I will just post this link to some of my social media platforms so that we get some engagement from there also.
Great, absolutely. I think that's a great point. So we have 12 viewers right now, which is great. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, once again for joining us. So Hamad and I, Hamad is a LinkedIn coach, LinkedIn expert, and myself, I'm a mindset and success coach. Both of us, we decided a couple of weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, we started this journey on running these webinars at no cost. The only cost is your time, 1 hour of your investment in your own journey, in your own development, to really help you identify and create a strategy for success for your career, for your personal growth, and maybe if you're an entrepreneur, for your entrepreneurial journey. And we identified four main things, four main themes or topics. And the first one being, how do you get started? The first step Hamad and I, we both stressed on, was preparation. Preparation is king. One of the first things we always start off with is understanding who you really are and taking a deep dive into your own self awareness. So that's where we started our journey from. We started up by talking about self awareness, doing a lot of self discovery, preparing for your career. And then we took a deep dive into networking, how networking has become the norm, and so important. If you are not networking, you're not really helping yourself in your career. From that point, from networking, we then spoke about LinkedIn, and Hamad shared with us some really amazing tips on LinkedIn on how to brand yourself in a digital world. And then, last but not the least, last week we spoke about my favorite topic, which is the growth mindset. How do you create? How do you create a more positive self-talk and create a more positive foundational belief system for yourself to really succeed in your career? So those were at a very high level the topics that we covered, and a lot of you guys came back to us on different platforms and asked us, okay, hey guys, can we get a whole Q&A session? So you asked and we're delivering. And this is what today's session is all about, all your questions. And I'm seeing a lot of great engagement from our viewers. So thank you so much for those of you who have been posting already. We have Jay Khan from Mississauga. We have Hashmi from Mississauga. We have Mashal Naeem from Toronto. We also have some Omer Raham from Oakville. Abdul Azim from Toronto, Michal from Toronto, and Jehan is asking me and Hamad of our location. Well, I'm in downtown Toronto, and Hamad, you're in Ajax. Isn't that
I'm
correct?
in India.
All
Yes.
right. So this is great. Hamad, we actually have our first question as well in the comment section. Um, so let's get started with that, I guess.
Or we can probably, yeah, let's start with this and then we'll go on to the questions that we
Yes.
already had
Yeah.
from our previous communication.
All right. So the first question is coming from Michelle. She's asking about, from our previous sessions, we that we mentioned that planning and preparation is key for career success, and understanding yourself is a part of that preparation. So, any tips on increasing self awareness? That's a great question. Tips on increasing self awareness. So, Hamad and I, we did a whole session on building self awareness, doing the preparation. So, this is a great question that you ask. And one of the tips that I think I definitely mentioned in that episode, and I'm going to repeat it because I think it's so, so important, especially in this world today. Hamad earlier spoke about the digital distractions that we have. And these small amount of attention spans that we all have. One thing I have personally, Hamad, really benefited from in terms of gaining more self awareness is just journaling. Journaling every single day for 5 minutes, not more than that. Honestly, it does not take too much time. Just journaling for 5 minutes. And what do I journal about? There are two things. One is the gratitude aspect. What am I really grateful for? And the gratitude, as most of us we know, is a huge important aspect of our mental well-being. And so that's one piece of my journaling. The second piece is creating, identifying what were those things that I really enjoyed doing, what were those things that I did not enjoy doing during that day, and what were those things that how can I do more of the things that I like versus more of the and less of the things that I did not like. So that's what I call as the 5221 journal. 5221 journal. I learned this technique from my friend Luki Danukaranto, who's also a career coach. And it has been a really good technique for me to gain more self-awareness about what do I even like? What do I enjoy? What are my strengths? Every single day, if I'm writing it down and reviewing it after a few days, you can always start seeing a pattern. So that's my tip in terms of increasing your self-awareness. Start journaling from a gratitude perspective, as well as identifying on that particular day, what did you enjoy doing? What did not enjoy doing? And how can you do more of the things that you enjoyed? So that's my answer. Hamad, would you like to add
Great.
anything?
No, no, thank you very much. This is great, great insights. You are the mind growth person, and you can speak on this subject for hour. So my 2 cents to this is very brief. Uh, the gratitude, of course, is the key thing.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate what you have, and do not regret what you don't have. Keeps you out of negative space. You will stay in a positive space. First thing. The other thing is try to differentiate between motivation and inspiration.
Mm.
What I have learned over the years that these motivational speakers, they make tons of money. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars. That's their business, which is fine. I personally feel that motivation is okay up to a limit. Motivation is when you are in an environment where everybody is motivated. You feel motivated too. So if you are watching a movie in which there is certain situation, your brain takes you there, and
Mm-hmm.
if you're focusing, then you are certainly motivated to do certain things. But motivation to me has a very short life. As soon as you are out of that situation, your motivation fizzles out. Whereas your inspiration is a long-term thing that you can capitalize upon. So, you know, I would think, try to get those inspirations from people. And
Mm.
inspiration is comes with learning. You have to be in a learning mode to get inspired. Whereas motivation, you can be in a bar and get motivated with the music, right? But as soon as you come out of it, either you're in a bad situation or you've been thrown out of it. So the thing is, what I want to say is that motivation is short-lived.
Yeah.
When you try to differentiate or experiment differentiating with these two things, you will learn yourself what Omar has just explained in a very scientific manner. I try to kind of explain it in a very layman's manner. Um, Yeah, but thank you very much. This was a great question to kickstart our discussion. And let me just
By
pull
the way, I
those
really
questions that
like that
you.
insight about inspiration and motivation. I don't think even I had given it that much of a thought. So thank you so much, Hamad, for sharing that. Because actually, yes, you're so right. How motivation is so short-lived, whereas the inspiration has a more of a longer lifespan, and we
Right.
should always look to keep on learning to keep ourselves inspired by
Yes.
the people around us from all the good work that's being done.
I
So
would like to
Hamada,
go like you touched it very nicely. I would like to just take 30 more seconds on it.
tell me.
See, inspiration leads you to plan, okay? And then plan leads you to take actions. And your action leads you to either be
Results.
successful in doing something or failing to do learn something. Okay.
Exactly. So
Whereas
true.
motivation does not. Motivation has no planning. It's just boom. But the
It's a
boom
spark.
is very short-lived, right?
Yeah,
Whereas your inspiration leads you to a path to success, I would say.
right.
And even failing is a success. If you fail, you learn. As simple as. So that's my 30-second over. Uh,
Hamad,
I
you
would
had a
jump on to the
question.
question. Sorry, let's jump on to the some of the questions that we had
Yeah,
from our list, and then we'll go back and talk to our
yeah,
friends who are watching us and respond to their question.
absolutely.
And there was this question, Umar, which is directed to you. It's about the growth mindset. And
Mm,
the question is, can you tell me what is growth mindset and how can I achieve it?
okay. This is a this is a very good question, and I'm just trying to think how can I um, try to summarize it. Okay, let me do this. So, in a nutshell, growth mindset is actually very similar to what we were talking about earlier, what Hamad said. It's about how do you make sure you keep on learning every single day. Growth mindset, another word for it is the learner's mindset. Scientifically speaking, the expert, the world renowned expert, her name is Dr. Carol Dweck. She wrote an entire book on this topic called Mindset. If you have not done so already, I would highly, highly recommend you pick up this book today and start reading it. I kid you not, this was a book that honestly changed my life, my perspective, my journey. And I have tremendous faith that if you do this, if you read this book, it will actually change your mind and your perspective as well. To answer this question, what exactly is growth mindset? The definition of a growth mindset is this: growth mindset is the power of your belief coupled with what you choose to focus on. And what that means is that the belief is always foundational to anything you do. Whatever we believe, and why is belief really important? Because our belief system really honestly is built from our environment, as Mahatma Gandhi said. He said, your beliefs become your thought becomes your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny. So that is how important the belief system is for each and every one of us. If I start believing the fact that um, I cannot succeed, I'm not smart, I'm not I'm not this, I'm not that, then honestly I will never get anywhere. However, if I start believing in my own self, in myself, that yes, I can succeed, I am smart, I can become smarter, I can become more intelligent, I can get this job, I can get that job, I'm halfway there already. So that is the first piece of the growth mindset, the belief. The second piece of the growth mindset is the focus. Now, there are two types of people in this world. One who always choose to focus on how is the world perceiving me? Am I being perceived as successful? Am I being perceived as smart? Am I being perceived as intelligent? And they care about the external perspective. And the second type of people, they don't care about it at all, right? They just choose to focus on their learning process, their own journey, regardless of whether they're failing or succeeding. For them, it's just important to just succeed day by day. And that in a nutshell is what growth mindset is all about. The second part of this question was, how can I achieve it? There are four key steps to achieving a growth mindset, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not gonna happen in a day, in 2 days, in a week, or 2 weeks, or a month. It takes time. It takes patience. It takes a practice, and it takes perhaps even a coach to work with to get you to that stage of developing a growth mindset. And those keys are: A, you have to realize that the effort that you're putting in is useful. All right, you don't have to consider effort as something that is, only the smart people can do. Everybody can put in the effort. Number two, challenges. How are you perceiving challenges? You should perceive challenges as an opportunity for you to grow, rather than um, um, you know rather than you trying to make your way around around challenges and trying to escape it. Work on them. Work on those. Look at them as an opportunity. The third thing is making mistakes, right? And Hammad talks about this a lot. If you watch some of his work, he talks about experimentation. Experiment, learn, fail, and just repeat that cycle, because failing is one easy way, the fastest way for us to learn. So don't be afraid of making mistakes. Learn to make mistakes, experiment. And last but definitely not the least is the fourth key to a growth mindset is find yourself a mentor, find yourself a coach, find yourself trusted advisors in your friends or family who can actually really, give you constructive feedback while you're on your journey towards a growth mindset. So hopefully that answers the question. Thank you so much, Hammad, for bringing that one up. We have
Okay.
quite a few more questions on the chat coming along, and I like that. I really like that.
So let's do this. One question from the list that we
Yeah,
have, and
exactly.
one question from our chat. So let's look at the chat. What we have,
Yeah.
what we
So,
have there.
Hamad, I'm going to throw this one to you. It's this being asked by Aliasghar Taha. He's asking a question. Can you please talk about some networking skills which can be utilized during the COVID-19 when it's difficult to meet people? Such a great question. I
Great
really like that
question.
because it is so applicable for today's context, that the world that we are living in today. So,
Right.
Hamad, what are your tips? How are you networking, and how are you growing yourself, your business, despite COVID?
Uh, right. So I think COVID. So people are looking at COVID, and this is human nature from two different perspectives. One, it has disrupted our lives. It has put a lot of people out of job. A lot of businesses have shut down and stuff
Yeah,
like that. A lot of people are suffering health-wise also. The other bunch of people are looking at this situation as an opportunity. Opportunity
yeah,
means, how do you? I mean, you are in a situation now. How do you get out of it?
hmm,
What are some of the tools available to us that can be used maybe in a very different manner? So what I see is a lot of people are using social media tools more effectively. At least they've learned to use more effectively. People are engaging more on social media. People are engaging more on LinkedIn, for instance, for professional things. And networking, I think that the opportunity that LinkedIn provides are phenomenal. You're looking at about
absolutely.
more than 650 million people out there, a lot of influencers and a lot of people who are out there to help you and to do business with you, or you can get tons of sales leads and business leads and other leads from and tips from LinkedIn. So it's just a matter of how do you want to use it. So
Mm-hmm.
again, as Umar said, and we talked in our earlier sessions, we should know what do we want to achieve out of it. So if networking means coffee with someone, obviously it's not going to happen. And people are sitting, like for instance in our list, we are in GTA, but people have joined us from everywhere. People
Yeah.
have joined us from out of GTA also. So think about it. This is an opportunity for us to network with you. This is an opportunity for you to network with us. And there is cross learning. What the questions that you are asking is actually sparking our brains also.
Mm.
So use that as a platform, but you should really be focusing on why I want to network with someone or a group of people. There are a lot of webinars going on, a lot of online conferences going on that you can join in and learn from and build your contacts from there.
Hmm.
So I would say, just to close my small tip is you should focus. What do you want to achieve? And then implement the idea. So focusing and implementing the idea will improve your networking. And this situation is going to remain for I
For
don't
a
know
while.
for how
Yeah.
long, but
We don't know.
foreseeable future, we are not going to get out of it.
No, absolutely. I love that. I really love that because I think you're so right. You're so on point, Hamad, about how the situation's not. Nobody knows when it will get improve, but this is a platform. This is a platform that you can use to network with people. But at the same time, I think the first step is to prepare again, right, and make sure you understand why do you want to network, who do you want to network with, and how can you go about create that plan and execute on it. In terms of, if I can add one point to it, Hamad, I would say, LinkedIn, for example, has really helped me personally in networking. It has really, and especially, I'll say that before I met Hamad, I was not a big user of LinkedIn. I was more like, as Hamad says, I was more of a dormant user of LinkedIn. But Hamad has changed that for me personally. He really has. And I would say you guys also reach out to him and get more tips from him about LinkedIn. But personally, I can share my story of about how I have actually increased my networking during COVID. I think, luckily for us, before people were going to work, people were busy, and now people had jobs. Unfortunately, a lot of people have lost jobs, and a lot of really good experts, experienced folks have lost jobs as well, and they're out in the market, they're also networking. So to me, it just seems like the number of people who are looking to network has actually increased during
Oh yeah.
COVID, and that is, to me, an opportunity for us to grab onto, right? There's so many. Find who those people are. I would bluntly say, stalk them. Stalk them
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Find them on LinkedIn. Who are those people that you want to rub shoulders with, whose brain you want to pick, who you want to learn from? And honestly, just shoot them a LinkedIn message.
Yeah.
My success rate is close to 2 to 3 out of 10, right? 2 to 3 out of 10. Every 10 people that I write to, they respond back to me, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
You cannot control who's going to reply back to you or not. What's in your control is the amount of messages you can send out to. My goal on a weekly basis is to send out messages to people I want to learn from. Somewhere around like 10 to 15 people I would like I send out messages to. And you can send out those messages to those people on LinkedIn simply just by talking about who you are, very briefly, in less than a line, and why do you want to learn from them, and a little bit of the logistics, and that's it. That's all you want to say in that initial message, and that's how I would give you the tip for networking. So great question. Thank you so much for asking. Let's Hamad, let's move on to the next question.
I think the question that we had from our previous list of questions was about planning and preparation. I think this was the one that we already addressed.
Yes.
But you want to, I mean, the question was you guys mentioned that planning and preparation is the key to career success. Understanding yourself is part of the preparation. Any tips of increasing self-awareness is the question that you already
Yep.
addressed
Yep.
in the beginning. So maybe if you could move on to some of the questions that are being posted
So,
live.
all right. So let's go to the next question. So after, so I'm just going scrolling through Aliasghar. There you go. Fatensal has this question. Hi, this is Faten from Waterloo. Great. We have people from Waterloo as well. Hammad, isn't that great?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
her question is about the best way to build rapport on LinkedIn with people with no personal connection. I mostly get a very cold or
Yes.
response or no response.
That's a
All right.
pretty common thing, that's a pretty common thing. You think about it, uh, you have uh, you have influencers who have been inundated with these requests, right? So I mean, you have to show off, right? You have, what value can you
Yeah.
add? What value can you add? And believe me, everyone in this on this platform can add some value. So if you start, I mean, just giving you a tip, start looking at what you can do for people rather than
Mm,
asking for people to help you.
yeah.
So maybe if you have failed to get a job and you have applied for maybe 500 jobs in the past 2 months, right? You would be depressed saying, I can't do anything because, I don't know how to find a job.
Yeah.
But believe me, if you start narrating your lessons from these 500 CVs that that you kind of sent out, and the interviews, these 100 interviews that you had, if you start thinking about it, okay, I can help people by actually telling them, okay, I applied for this job. These were some of the questions, and I failed miserably. All, I mean, you can say I responded nicely, but maybe I failed because the requirement was very different. So you are actually using uh, your learning to help other people. And what you will
I
see
love that.
gradually, that people will start following you.
Yep.
If you start helping, it's like, you go to a bank and you have not deposited anything in your bank account, you can't withdraw.
I love that.
If you have deposited something, and this is like, you keep, and do it for 1 month, 30 days, do it 30 days, every day one tip onto your profile, hashtag it properly, you will see that you will start getting traction. I mean, I've posted like fourth video today, 90 seconds with Hammad Siddiqui. And these 90-second tips, I'm doing it like very raw, like I'm using my
Yeah.
handphone, I'm not using my camera or anything. It's just, and I blip at times. But at the end of the day, 90 second, if somebody's getting a tip in 90 seconds, that's a very good thing to do. And in the past, like, if we leave today's, because I just posted today's video, in the past three videos, my views were over 3,000 in three
Right.
videos.
Yeah.
And the first one has crossed 1,500. So the point I wanted to make is that, there are these opportunities. Once you start building on these or capitalizing on these opportunities, you will see that people will start connecting with you.
Absolutely. I love that. I think that is so, so well said. And this is to everyone, this is such a great question. And I think both Hamad, you and I, we get this question a lot of times. And Hamad said it the best, right? You have to first give before you start taking. As simple as that. Whatever it is, you have to start finding ways in which you can give back, and you will automatically see how the world and the universe will conspire to give back to you because of your giving, right? And then you can take. And that's exactly how networking works. It's not, networking is all about giving, it's not about taking. So change, and that's a small shift in the mindset, in my opinion. And I'm sure, Fatin, you have some sort of experience, some sort of knowledge, some sort of really unique skills that you can talk about on a daily basis. You don't even have, like Hamad creates these 90 seconds videos every day. You don't have to create a video. You can just write as a post like, hey, this is my expertise. Whatever your thoughts are, whatever your whatever your skills are, you can share those with the world, you can share those with the people around you, and you will see that eventually, in a few weeks, in a few months time, you will start getting a lot of people responding to you, and that's where you start building that network. But yeah, this is a great question, so thank you so much for asking that, Fatin, really. All right, so
Mhm.
should we go on to the next one?
Yes, please.
The next one comes in from Zeeshan Safdar.
Yeah.
So, any thoughts on what abilities, skills, or traits that a person should look for in their team members, either as someone picking a new team member or joining a new team? This is a great question. This is
Great question. Would
love
you
that.
like to jump on this one, Omar?
Sure, I'll try
And
to
then I
tackle
will
this.
share my idea also.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is a great question about teams and skills. So the way I look at it, Zishan, is what are those gaps? Number one, we have to understand what is the current state. So, for example, let's take, if you are looking to hire a new team member in your team, right? Understand what is the current state of the skill sets that are already available in the team, right? Maybe somebody is really good at speaking, maybe somebody is really good with analysis, maybe the third person is an idea person, and now you want somebody who's super detail oriented, who can all take all of this together and mesh it into something, a really detailed document, just as an example, right? So I think the first step is to identify what is your current state of your skill sets in in the particular team that you're working in. Once you know what that current state is, then identify what is that goal, what is the future state of the skills where you want to take this team towards. And between the delta between that future and this current state will be that gap. Once you identify what is that gap in skills, you can then obviously advertise for that particular job posting. You can advertise for this, these are the skills that you are looking for when you're interviewing, that for that team member. You can see who has who displays that particular skill. And if and that's, at least that's the process, right? That's the process in which I would go about doing it. So do a current state analysis of the skills in the team, future state, where do you want to see this team going to, and do a gap. What is the gap? What's the missing? What are the missing pieces? So that's how I would approach this particular problem. Hammad, what do you have to add to that?
Right. So I think it's a again, all these questions are very, very interesting, and I think the idea is that how do we make this team more resilient, more be able to do more, more effectively, more
Mm-hmm.
efficiently, and perhaps if we just look at these couple of things, how do we achieve more efficiency? I think all this comes with something very basic.
Mm-hmm.
So technical skills are so if somebody you're looking at a technology team, of course, technical skills are essential to have. But as far as the personal skills are concerned, of course, there are tangible and intangibles, right? In an interview, you can only evaluate tangibles. You can't really evaluate, intangibles. So if somebody says, "I'm a team player," how will you evaluate that, right? If somebody says, "I'm a good communicator," or I can articulate well, these are two things that are tangible. So you can actually, during the conversation, work out whether the person is actually articulating things or is he communicating well. So, and of course, communication process, I don't really need to get into that detail. So perhaps you need to really work out yourself is that, if somebody who can articulate, who can communicate, and just build on that. You have to have those technical skills that are required. So an accountant
Mm.
requires certain qualifications to be an accountant. You can't really
Yeah.
appoint someone who is not an accountant into a team which is an accountancy team, right? But in addition to that, if somebody can articulate, and if somebody can communicate with you, you are good to take that person as a team member. And then, of course, the environment nurtures a team. So if you have an environment where there is no like leg pulling or
Yeah.
micromanaging and all that, you will see that people will prosper themselves. They will just do a lot and contribute a lot. So I think that's what I would like to add to
I
this.
love that. No, I love that. That's great. Those are some really good points. Thank you so much, Hamad, for sharing that, and Zishan for asking that question. All right, the next question is from Zia or Rehman Danish. All right, Hamad, he's asking, is it right that your network is net? I think it's usually the other way. Your net worth is equals your network. I think that's what Zia was trying to ask us. So, as per the mindset has been made on which network are you part of? As per mindset, which network are you a part of? I think I'm not too clear on the question, but I
Yeah.
think he's asking about, is it really true the saying that your net worth equals your network. So
Who do
Hamad,
you know?
since you have such
Again,
a
is
huge network, I would
yeah.
love you to take on this one.
No, no, I think it's a very small, very brief response here. Thank you very much for asking this question. See, the thing is that if you know people, and if you know the right people, when I say right people, people who you can work with or who you can support,
Mm-hmm.
uh, then you can either take benefit of it or you can provide benefit to those people, right? So
Absolutely.
this is, in a very nutshell, you need to know exactly what you want to achieve out of it. So for instance, if I want to learn French, for instance, I'm talking with a very Canadian way of thinking. If
Yeah.
I am interested in learning French, I need to build a network with people who speak French or are French teachers or teachers teaching French, and network with them so that I learn from them. This is they're giving to me. And when I have learned French, if I want to coach people and
Mm-hmm.
build my business on coaching French for to newcomers, is my way of connecting with people who are interested in learning French. And
Right.
this is how it goes on. So I've tried to kind of simplify this whole process. You need to know exactly what you want to do,
Yeah.
and then network with people, and then it will become your network. I mean, if you don't network with people who are not relevant, or
Absolutely.
at least not relevant to your focus, then of course there is no work.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Your networking strategy should not be a spray and pray strategy, right? It should be more focused. Again, as Hamad said earlier, you have to know what exactly are you looking for while you're networking. Goes back to what are your goals, and from that point onwards, you have to build that kind of a network and find people in that network who are relevant to that goal, relevant to that vision that you have, to that particular subject matter domain, whether it is project management or supplier chain management or finance, whatever your domain is. Find people relevant to that particular domain and that particular goal. And I think it's important to also point out at this for this particular question, something that we spoke about earlier. You too, Zia, have some sort of expertise. Never downplay the expertise and the skills that you bring to the table. Start sharing that with the world. Start becoming a voice for this world, for all the abilities that you have in this world, so that the people out there, they can listen to you as well, and you become a source of help to them, a source of support to them, and only then you will get the support back. All right, something
Absolutely.
similar to what we spoke about earlier for Faten's question. So thank you
Yeah.
so much for asking this, Zia. Really appreciate it.
And
All right.
Omar, the next question is from Abdul Azim,
Yes.
and I think let's go with a very quick response to this, because we've already spoken about it
Mm-hmm.
a little bit earlier. And the question is something that lockdown COVID is a tool for developing oneself and something otherwise. What is your perspective?
I think first perspective of mine is I think he meant a boom, not a boon. But I think I agree. I 110% agree. Again, goes back to the mindset aspect, right? A person with a growth mindset would look at this COVID as a challenge, this challenge of COVID as an opportunity to learn, to develop themselves, to make use of all the additional time that you suddenly have during COVID to amp up your skill sets. A person with a, not a growth mindset, more of a fixated mindset, will look at this challenge as a threat, as a threat, and be like, oh my god, there's COVID, I cannot do any job, the job market is down, I just have to wait and watch. And they just put everything down to destiny. Sure, I believe in destiny too, but at the same time I also believe that you have to work hard towards creating your own destiny. So that's my perspective. I think it is a great opportunity for us to work on our skills because now we have additional time. There's no more commuting going on. There are no more concerts going on. There are no more shows. There's no more sporting events. Nothing is going, literally no parties, nothing is going on. You have extra time at your hand. How you choose to leverage and utilize that time of yours is honestly all up to you. You can use it to up your skills, or you can choose to just watch Netflix day in day out. That's your call.
Right, absolutely. No, I fully agree with you. And I mean, it's just a matter of, again, looking at things from a very positive perspective. In a very difficult situation, the human and basically any, even animals, have this instinct of, uh, there's a self defense mechanism built into our brain. I just
Hmm.
wanted to again simplify things, and that mechanism has again two parts. Part number one is that you would see, okay, I'm gone, I can't really do, give up.
Yeah.
Part number two is that, okay, what can I do to save myself? Okay, even somebody who falls into a river, drawn, getting drawn and everything, the person will still try to survive. Whether he or she is lucky enough or not, that's something different. So let's be in that mindset as
Hmm.
try to see what can be done around it. So, and be creative. I think human brain, um, not I think, I mean, it's just that's a fact, is highly creative.
Yeah.
We can create our environment, we can create our opportunities. Um, Something may happen quickly, something
Hmm.
may take some time, some effort, some corrective measures, but you will reach to that point. There could be a shift in strategy in the process, but that's how I would see COVID.
Yeah.
Look at learning. LinkedIn learning is really, booming, really
Yeah.
booming, because a lot of people are going out there and learning something new. People are posting videos, people are sharing content, and some people are just not doing anything. So there is always, as I said, there are people who are giving, there are people who are receiving and not utilizing it.
Yeah.
So, the latter part is the unfortunate part of it.
Absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right, so let's move on.
There is a question from the Caribbean Muslim Network, and this is a very interesting question. How do we get past the ATS, the applicant
Right.
tracking system?
It's very easy.
Very
Very
relevant
easy.
question.
Very easy.
But go for it. Yes.
Invest in creating an ATS friendly resume. Period.
Yes.
It's machine readable, right? If you don't invest when you are, so I mean, if you are sick and you don't buy a medicine, the process will take its time. You will recover because our system, immune system, actually
Yeah.
helps the recovery process. What medicines do, they quicken the process. So take that medicine. If you don't take it, you will still recover from your flu, right?
So
You
what
will
would
still
be
recover from your fever.
what would be a ATS friendly resume? Can you talk a little bit more
Okay, so
about that?
the keywords that are used in that particular job advertisement,
Correct.
if you can use those keywords, and there are experts. I
Yeah.
have an associate who is, I mean, she lives in GTA only. She's an expert in creating ATS resume. She's a recruiter herself, and
Mm-hmm.
that's her second income thing. So, I mean, the thing is that if you don't want to invest, if you don't want to buy a medicine, you may still recover, but it will
Yeah.
take a long time. You will be weak with fever and all that, whatever ailment you have. And if you need even quicker solution, you go to a doctor,
Yeah.
and doctor charges a fee. Okay, in Canada, doctors charge such fee from the government, and we pay government hefty taxes for that support. So ultimately, if you see, we are investing into our health. So
Mm.
just think about it. If we don't invest, don't expect any quick results. Invest into, so for instance, people ask me, We have a LinkedIn profile for so many 5 years, 3 years, whatever. I haven't received even a single response
That's such a
from a
typical one,
recruiter. I
isn't
said,
it?
you won't get it because you haven't fixed it. It's not appearing in LinkedIn search. So you have to
It's a dormant
really,
profile.
right. So you have to learn these things either yourself. If you can,
Yeah.
if you can't do it, then you go to an expert, and that's very simple.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's
Uh,
it's so true. Create an eight like use the keywords that are available in the job description in the for and use those keywords in your resume so that you
yes,
can get screened into the screened in candidates, and you don't the ATS doesn't filter you out. And that's as simple as that at the high level. If you want to go deeper into it, there's so many more there's a lot of mechanics behind that. I don't think Hammad and I will be able to cover every single piece of the ATS in this session, but that's the basic of it. Basic. You can do this. Anyone who's looking for a job can do this. Look at the and people come back and tell me whenever Hamad I give this answer, they're like, Omar, but this is so time consuming. I can't really. I don't have enough time to create a different resume for each and every job. I'm like, finding a job is it's
full-time
not
job.
easy. You're competing against like thousands and thousands of people, and you don't want to put in the effort. Like, are you? Do you tell me? Do you really think you deserve this job? And then the
Uh,
answer is like, okay, you
yeah.
know. So
The
just
concept
put
of
in.
lizard brain
Yeah.
that the concept of lizard brain that this guy has nicely narrated. Said Gordon has nicely narrated. Again, laziness. Let's get on to the next one. From Ali Yusuf, wondering if either of you can recall the best interview answer you have ever heard from a candidate and what stood out about that particular answer for you.
Hmm.
Um, I can share one thing with you.
Please.
My strategy had never been um, to go into too much details in an interview.
Okay.
Um, because in half an hour interview you can't really figure out much. So I would always try to look at the things that I talked earlier. Somebody in a situation, how would that person respond to that situation? Um, how flexible that person, and then I will gauge from the response that how flexible that person was, how willing to learn that person was, whether he acted independently or he worked with a group of people to come out of the situation. Can he narrate and articulate things, or can he communicate well? And my best tool is a small, and this is I'm sharing with you, is a small sketch. So I
Mm-hmm.
would give somebody a small sketch of a situation, a
Interesting.
picture from maybe. And I would ask like three or four basic questions. What do you see in this picture, right? And what is happening? And stuff like that. So maybe a couple of things, and I would give that person 15, 20 minutes to write it down. So if
Mm-hmm.
somebody's writing it down, means when I read it, I can see whether the person is able to articulate it. There is
Ah.
no right or wrong question, but
Yeah.
based on that, I can see, okay, this person can actually look deep down, is creative. Like kids are extremely creative. Kids can come out with
Absolutely.
wonderful things. They can make out, images from clouds.
Yeah.
The clouds are going by, and they can say, okay, there's a rabbit going on or a bird going on in the cloud. So imagination, the creativity, the articulation of that, and communication are the few things that I would look at it, and these are really important for me if I'm hiring people. And I would like to hire people who are willing to learn.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that's paramount.
and I don't give them any hard time. I'm not a micromanager. But first 3 months, I would really grill them, not grilling them with extended time within the job, but grilling them on the key performance indicators.
Hmm.
And I would always want to work on these key performance indicators with that person, so that the person, the team member has the ownership rather than me telling him, okay, this is what you need to do. I would always say, okay, this is what we need to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think your role would be in it? And then
Right.
let the person come up with the key performance indicators and fine tune. So, I mean, it's very interesting. I haven't studied HR, but a lot of people don't follow these very basic ideas on how do we build teams,
Mm.
uh, and particularly in today's time when there are remote teams, it has become more complex. Omar,
Right.
I'm just mindful of time. We only have
Yeah.
about 5 minutes to go.
Absolutely. I actually just want to add one small thing to this particular question, and I'm actually what I'll try to do is I'm trying to kill two birds with one stone. All right. There was another question that was sent out to me through LinkedIn um, earlier, and that question was how should I write the about me section, or how do I even answer the question in an interview? Tell me about yourself. How do I introduce myself, basically, right? And I think I'm going to tie something that I learned personally to this particular question that Ali Yusuf is asking me. And one of the my personal learning, and it was not during an interview, it was actually during a networking session, and I learned this technique from this person, and I was really impressed. So in a networking environment, majority of the people, when you network, and this was me, I would network day in day out, and I would introduce myself to people, and I never really paid attention to how am I introducing myself to others, right? I didn't really have a good script to it, and this is how I used to do it. And my spiel was something like this: Hi, my name is Omer, and I am an educator. I'm a coach. I teach people about design thinking, about changing their mindsets, and what do you do? And that's really it. And I noticed that majority of the people, 99% of the people, when they introduce themselves, they introduce themselves in a very similar framework. They speak about what they do. So as I said, I'm a coach, I'm an educator, and what do they coach about, right? And this is what I coach, and or what how they approach it. And that's literally it. People just talk about majorly about the what of their lives, right? I then came across a gentleman who changed my perspective, and kind of like the best interview or networking or introduction that I've heard. And he changed, I don't exactly remember his particular one, but what I can answer for you is that how I changed my way of introducing myself in a networking environment or even in an interview. And I truly believe that really um, changed the outcomes for me. And the way you approach introducing yourself is by starting off with your vision, your why, then talk about how you do it, and then finally talk about the what. So now the way I introduce myself is as follows: Hi, my name is Omer Qadri, and I am on a mission to unlock the true potential of our human mind. How I do this is by inculcating individuals with the non cognitive capabilities. And what I do is that I'm a coach, I'm a mindset and success coach, and I can help you achieve your particular career goals. So that way, I felt like there was a more connection, because now that you understand why this person is doing what they're doing, and to me that's really really important. So that was one of the best thing I learned from another person in terms of interview and how to introduce yourself. And I think it's a tip that you guys, listeners out there, can do in whenever you are dealing with an interview situation and introducing yourself in an interview or networking environment.
Just one cent from my side to this is, if you evaluate, or at least try to evaluate why people ask this question in an interview. Basically, they want to kickstart the discussion, right?
Yeah.
And that is your opportunity to project something based on which they would ask you a question that you want them to ask. So your narration should be, and nobody is smiling. I like it. Your narration should be very focused on what you want them to ask next.
Absolutely.
Okay,
It's your
see,
opportunity
it's
to get into the
nothing
driver's seat.
technical, right? Nothing technical. So if you think why, so as an accountant, somebody if an accountant goes for an interview, the accountant would see, okay,
Yeah.
I can focus my discussion so that the person asks only about QuickBooks, for instance. Then you have to introduce yourself as an expert in QuickBooks, right?
Mm.
And then you will see the questions will follow.
Yeah.
So that's
I love
my
that.
1 cent
I
to this
completely
whole
agree. It's your opportunity to get into the driver's seat and just drive away, right?
approach.
And take charge. Great, awesome. Um, so there are so many other questions that we have that were sent to us, and I'm so humbled about the fact that people have been sending such great questions. Hamad, there
Yeah,
was one
I mean, like we have time for one more question
yeah.
from Zeeshan Safdar, and this is the question is from a mindset perspective. Why do we feel the need to switch jobs every few years? Should the ultimate goal be find a job where we want to stay for a very long time? Let me respond to this one
Go for
first,
it.
and then I will
I
take
would.
it.
Yes.
See, the thing is that there are two different type of what I call the thinking process, or the people who look at this from two different perspectives. Dishan, somebody like me, I worked for a very long time in an organization,
Hmm.
and I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It is ultimately not about making more money. Believe me, you can make money and kill yourself, right? Like investment bankers, they make money but they kill themselves, right? The Bitcoin traders, the stock traders, they make money but they kill themselves. So if you want to kill yourself, there are plenty of opportunities out there, right? But if you want to enjoy yourself and grow and learn and grow and contribute, then of course, based on your own situation, like my first job was almost 17 years in one organization,
Wow.
and the next one is 14 years. So in my whole span, apart from the initial phase, my first full stretch job was 17 almost and 14 almost. So you can work it out, about 31 years altogether in two organizations. And that was fascinating because I grew with the organization. I enjoyed every bit of it. I contributed, and even I have left these organizations, but people still remember me. Like for the current organization that I worked with until March, they have taken me as a consultant for their projects.
Mm.
So it's a small like thing, but the consultant rather advisory situation, right? So they would take advice on strategies and stuff, which is not time consuming, not too much time consuming. But uh, now the younger people, to learn more and to make more money, they switch.
Mm.
Uh, I don't really see any issue with switching quickly or staying for an organization for a long time. But if you keep switching very quickly, that shows that you are not interested. So the employer would say, okay, if I take this person, you know, what is the longevity of the possibility of that person going to stay with me? Because hiring a person is not only time consuming, it's an expensive process also.
Yeah.
So I think I've given my perspective on that.
Yeah. No, that's great. I couldn't, and that's incredible, man. You Hamad, you spent 31 years and just two jobs. That's awesome. Yeah, can't even. I think from in right now, it's so hard for people to even imagine that, because as Zishan said, and I agree with him, that there is people change their jobs a lot more frequently now than they ever did before, right? And I think my 2 cents, and I'm going to keep it very short, is I believe there is this need to switch jobs every few years, because think I do not think that people have done enough work to really do a good self discovery of who they even are and what do they like, right? Once and perhaps you're switching your jobs very frequently because you're doing something that you're not really enjoying that much. It's not tied to your own personal strengths. So until and unless there is a synergy between between your strengths, your likings, and the job that you're doing, you'll keep switching because hey, it's not going to happen that you will have that harmony between those two areas of what the job is offering and your own strength. So find, I would say my only tip would be to invest some time in self discovery, self awareness, and understanding your own personal strengths, and find careers where you can apply those skills, and you will see that suddenly you will not have that urge to switch jobs every now and then. That is my 2 cents.
Great. No, thank you very much, Umar. We are already 5 minutes over our
Yes. This,
time, and I think at this stage, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts, to work with you on this interesting project that we had. We have been working together for the past 8 weeks
yeah,
on this project. First 3 weeks we were trying to figure out how to do it. And when I said, okay, let's jump into it, I mean, nothing can go wrong, right? And then
exactly.
you invested in your Yeti microphone, which is great. I haven't invested into my microphone and a nice picture behind you and everything. So, no, this has been a
That's
great
all my
opportunity,
vibe. That's all
right?
him.
It's very nice. So, but we will see how do we continue this um, uh, these sessions. Not may not be that frequently, every
Yeah,
week may be a bit challenging for us. And Umar does actually a lot more than just talking to me over a Saturday. He does a lot of other things, talking to a lot of other people. He's really investing a lot of energy and time and thoughts in kind of building this whole thing. But maybe once in every fortnight, if we have a session, um, we can pick a topic. There are followers now. You have 376 followers, subscribers on your channel. 10 are
yeah,
still watching, and we can launch it. Topic by topic, perhaps,
yeah,
and get those questions in advance, the way we did today,
yeah.
and then we can kind of bundle these questions, whether these questions are mindset, or we can like do whatever we want to do with these
Exactly.
questions that we
There's
have.
so many things we all can do with it, and I think it's so. You said it so right, right? It is something that you and I we kind of jumped into, and we thought, you know what can go wrong? Let's just try this, and
Yeah,
thankfully everything worked out really well. Thank you, Hammad, so much for investing your time with us. You're such a great expert, especially when it comes to career, when it comes to LinkedIn and having that digital presence and branding. There were some amazing insights that you shared with us. I really learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. And I want to really thank each and every one of you who's watching today as well, who joined us, who asked us such amazing questions. And it's because of you that Hamad and I, we feel motivated every single week to come back, right? It's because of you guys we keep coming
absolutely.
back. And as Hamad said, like, the more you guys ask, and hopefully we can oblige and deliver more to you, for your own growth, for your own journey. Thank you. That's all that I had to say. Hamad, thank you once again for being an amazing guest. Loved having you. And let's keep talking, and hopefully you and I, we can do some more collaboration.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and you have a wonderful week.
You too. Take care, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye.